Our boy Caleb Williams was recently a guest on Maxx Crosby podcast. Yeah, I will take a moment for y'all to digest that and do with that information what you will, because we all know there's a lot of talk going on around the Bears about Maxx Crosby and whether the Bears can get him via a trade from the Raiders, but that's not what this video is about. I want to talk about what Caleb Williams said on the podcast, particularly the three areas that he wants to improve upon going into next season, because I feel like if he can make these improvements, he and the Bears will get to where they want to be next year, ultimately guest in Super Bowl 61. Welcome back to Bears Yard. This your boy Vipe, and the first area that Caleb Williams wants to improve on is an obvious one. He wants more completions. He wants a higher completion percentage. How much have we talked about this season, or at least the pundits and the analysts anyway? How much did they talk about Caleb Williams and his low completion percentage? I believe he finished the season with a 58 or 59% completion percentage, which I believe ranked him dead last among starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Although, as you all have heard me talk about ad nauseum on the channel, Caleb Williams is a lot more than his completion percentage. Again, you could talk about the low completion percentage all you want, but what does that have to do with him leading 7 fourth quarter comebacks? Nothing. But everybody wants to talk about that completion percentage and how it was too low, blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. Obviously, there were some opportunities left out there on the field for Caleb and the Bears this offseason, but we also have to attribute those completions. A lot of those were balls that he threw away, and let's not get on the receiver drops. Even Ben Johnson at the end of the year talked about how he needs receivers to catch the ball going into next season, but Caleb wants more completions. And if he can get those next season, there is nothing stopping him for being the first Chicago Bears quarterback in franchise history to pass for over 4,000 yards and lead the Bears once again back into the NFL playoffs this upcoming season. The second area where Caleb wants to improve upon is he wants a better handle or better control over pre-snap things, basically calling protections and lining people up and different things like that. A lot of that stuff this season was handled by the center, Drew Dahlman, who was brought in specifically to assist Caleb Williams with pre-snap stuff like protections and different things like that. However, if Caleb Williams can take more responsibility and understand where to line people up, how to call the protections, why it's happening, he can be the one to put the Bears in the best position to succeed on every offensive play. So I feel like him having a better handle on that can be nothing but good for the Bears, because then he can get to a point where he can literally manipulate the defense into doing what he wants them to do and optimizing and maximizing the Bears' scoring opportunity, which leads us into the third area where Caleb Williams wants to improve. Caleb Williams wants the Chicago Bears next season to be the highest scoring offense in points per game in NFL history. I mean, that is crazy, but here's the thing, right? Before Ben Johnson got to the Bears last season, I think the offense was like at sub 20 points per game. But then Ben Johnson comes into the building, and the Bears, I believe, were top 10 in points per game this past season. I think they had like 25, 26 points per game this past season. So that area of improvement is definitely on the table for the Chicago Bears. But if they want to get to a point where they are the highest point per game team in NFL history, they are up against, I believe, the 2013 Denver Broncos, who were led by Peyton Manning, which I think they scored 38 points per game, which, again, is obviously the highest point per game in NFL history. Can the Chicago Bears score 38 points per game? Sure they can. Although I believe if that's something that they want to do, then you're talking about a crazy passing attack. But we have Caleb Williams, who is one of the best passers in the NFL, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, although Ben Johnson prefers to mix in the run. And when you mix it in the run like that, that's going to kind of bring your point total down, because running the ball takes more time off the clock, which means you're probably getting the ball less, as opposed to an offense like the Broncos and the greatest show on turf, the Rams of the past, who were throwing the ball all over the yard. And when you're scoring quickly, that allows you to get more possession per game, which allows you to maximize your point scoring opportunity. So can the Bears be the highest scoring offense in league history? Sure. But it kind of goes against what Ben Johnson believes in as an offensive play caller involving the running game. Because, again, yes, you can evolve the running game to set up the passing game and different things like that. But the way Ben Johnson likes to incorporate the running game, I mean, we saw what he did against the Cowboys in game 3 of last season, right? He ran the ball, I think, 11 straight times. That drive burned, like, I think, 10 minutes off the clock, and the Bears ultimately ended that drive with a touchdown. But again, when you have long, sustained drives like that where you're running the ball for 11 times in a row, and that's how Ben Johnson wants to integrate the running game, that is going to decrease scoring opportunity throughout the entire game. So I think that the Bears becoming the highest scoring offense in NFL history might be a little bit harder considering how much Ben Johnson likes to lean on the running game. But if Caleb Williams can make that jump from year 2 to year 3, and he's able to get to a point where he's able to manipulate defenses, I think it's definitely possible that the Chicago Bears could be in that 38 point per game range. It's crazy to think about that given the history of this organization, but they now have the best quarterback they've ever had in their team's history. So with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, offensive masterminds at the helm, anything is possible for the 2026 Chicago Bears. But Bear fans, let me know, how do you feel about these improvements that Caleb Williams wants to make in his game for this upcoming season? Are you on board? Is there something else that you would like to see him focus on in the upcoming season? Drop a comment and subscribe to the Yard for all things Chicago Bears.